Some of South Africa's dangerous convicts slip through administrative jail cracks, ending up where they're not supposed to be. 3. Among us. Hi, I'm Caryn Dolley, and I'm an author and journalist at Daily Maverick. South Africa's prisons are overcrowded, corruption is rampant among warders, and there are concerning movements of convicted killers and murderers in the country's gangsterism capital, the Western Cape. Several years ago, I chatted to a soft-spoken man sitting in the dock in the High Court in the Western Cape. 2 swords on his forehead were among the several faint greenish tattoos on his face and arms. He told me he wanted to be a pastor. He was considered one of the most ruthless gangsters in the Western Cape, arguably in all of South Africa. A key figure within the 28s gang, he held a prominent position in its street and its prison faction. His name? George Geweld Thomas. His alias Geweld means violence when translated from Afrikaans to English. In 2015, Thomas was convicted of several crimes, including 7 murders. He ordered hits from behind bars and was sentenced to 7 life terms plus 175 years in jail. This is an SABC news clip on the Thomas trial from the 7th of June 2015.
Notorious and feared, George Geweld Thomas, leader of the 28s gang. His reach and influence stretched wide, from the Cape Flat streets to inside prison. Thomas was convicted on 52 charges, including 7 of murder. His trial was one of the biggest and most complex gang prosecutions in the province.
Here's the thing though, nearly a decade later, in 2024, it emerged that he'd been transferred from a prison in KwaZulu-Natal to one in the Western Cape. This was highly controversial and worrying. Thomas was convicted for crimes in the Western Cape, where prison gangs and street gangs worked together. Moving him to this province risked fueling even more violence. During his trial held in the Western Cape, the prosecution team and judge were under protection. I sat next to 1 or 2 of their protection officers when covering those court proceedings. Several state witnesses were killed.
The court heard that Thomas made and received 33,000 phone calls while in solitary confinement, orchestrating the murder of people who were to testify against him.
Correctional Services Minister Pieter Groenewald stepped in and made sure Thomas was sent to prison in Pretoria instead. The Thomas situation became the focus of an investigation. I asked Groenewald's office for an update on this. On the 3rd of June 2025, his spokesperson told me the investigation had been concluded and that recommendations contained in the report on it were being implemented. But this is all secret, and we won't be told what the investigation found because of, and I quote, the high security nature of the recommendations and the individual in question, Mr. Thomas, end quote. Why is this important? Well, I've got your attention, and to take a break from those crimes, if you like this work, please support our journalism. Details are in the caption below. The Thomas and 28 saga points to much deeper problems in the prison system, issues that affect us all. I previously reported that as of January 2025, South Africa's jail population stood at 166,030. There was approved bed space for only 107,346 individuals, which means the country's prisons are clearly overcrowded. In May 2025, I also reported on 3 sentenced and convicted criminals from Cape Town, 2 of them murderers and 1 of them rapist, who were released from custody while they were meant to be serving sentences. A paperwork bungle saw them freed. Michael Mentor, Kolani de Preer, and Michael Timmy were previously convicted of separate crimes and sentenced. Because of their ages, they were young at the time of conviction and are now around 19. They were first held at the Horizon Child and Youth Care Centre in Cape Town, but while there, they faced assault allegations. A High Court order was issued and they were moved from the youth facility to Pollsmoor Prison. During their time at Pollsmoor, they each separately appeared in a court for the assault matter at the youth facility, and instead of being transported back to Pollsmoor after court, they were freed. So, how exactly did Mentor, de Preer, and Timmy end up outside of jail? It has emerged that prison officials believed the individuals had not yet been sentenced, as the prison officials had not yet received the documents confirming the inmates had already been convicted and sentenced for previous crimes. A spokesperson told me they were never sent a High Court order stating that Mentor, de Preer, and Timmy should remain in Pollsmoor. As a result, prison officials believed the 3 hadn't been sentenced. Minister Pieter Groenewald echoed that, saying an internal investigation cleared the department of any wrongdoing. Instead, he pointed the fingers at the Western Cape Social Development Department, which oversees the Horizon Youth Centre, where the chair were held before being moved to Polsmoor. But the Western Cape Social Development Department hit back, accusing Groenewald of deflecting and making what they called unfounded accusations to take the heat off his own department. Convicted murderer Kolani de Preer was rearrested in April 2025, about 2 months after his release, on new suspicions relating to a robbery. Mikael Mentor was arrested at the end of May 2025, about 5 months after his release, for the murder he was made to be in jail for. In June 2025, it emerged the third convict, Mikael Timmy, was also back in custody for the rape he was sentenced for. As things stand, in South Africa's gangsterism epicenter, the Western Cape, 3 sentenced criminals were freed from jail because of an apparent paperwork bungle. And as I speak now, no one has really taken responsibility for this, for basically endangering us. We know that there have been murders in jails. Killings have also been ordered from inside jail cells. And in certain instances, criminals have been freed from jail when they shouldn't have been.